What if everything you thought was made in the USA was quietly moving next door? Not broadcast from the trading floor. Not headlined on the evening news, but behind closed boardrooms. A quiet industrial migration is reshaping the very map of American manufacturing. 6 household names you grew up trusting, the fizz of your soda, the hum of your engine, the comfort of your soup, are whispering, "Made in Canada." Why? Because Canada is offering a business paradise. Tax incentives that sound like fantasy. Hydroelectric power so cheap it makes us rates look like a luxury. And red tape-free regulations that fast-track production. Combined, these 6 companies employ over 1.5 million Americans. But soon, many of those paychecks could be printed north of the border. And trust us. Number 1 will make you question every product on your shelf. Number 6, Tesla. Tesla, once the pride of Silicon Valley, has quietly shifted key operations, R&D, robotics, and battery production to Ontario and Quebec. Why? Because rolling blackouts at U.S. gigafactories cost up to $5 million per day in lost production. In Canada, Tesla found answers $52.5 billion in battery subsidies, hydroelectric power locked in through 2040 to 40% cheaper than in the U.S. Environmental reviews done in 4 months, not 12. Even when Quebec cut EV rebates and demand dropped 87%, Tesla doubled down, building labs and software test beds that used to be U.S.-bound. Now, Cybertruck innovations once meant for Nevada. Roll out under maple leaf flags? Number 5. Ford. Late 2024, Ford committed $2.3 billion to expand its Oakville, Ontario plant. Originario planned for EVs. The plant pivoted to building F-Series Super Duty pickups, some of America's best-selling vehicles. Why the shift? A $500 million incentive package, 90% renewable hydroelectric energy, land ready for large-scale auto manufacturing. Overnight, 1,800 new jobs appeared in Canada. Suppliers from metal stampers to electronics vendors followed. Meanwhile, U.S. plants face stalled upgrades, soaring utility costs, and consumer sticker shock. Each Ford truck, built in Canada, quietly chips away at a century of American loyalty. Number 4. General Motors. Since 2020, GM has pumped $2.6 billion into Canadian EV and battery operations. A $1 billion battery plant in Quebec. EV drive unit upgrades in Ontario. Why? U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum have hiked costs by 35%. In Canada, just 12%. U.S. factories like Ingersoll idled 1,200 workers and never reopened. Meanwhile, GM relocated engineers and offered generous packages to move north. Detroit's Pulse now beats in Canadian labs, while Michigan's lunch counters sit empty. Made in America is becoming made in Canada. Number 3, Alcoa. America's aluminum giant Alcoa got crushed by a 25% tariff on Canadian imports rising. U.S. energy costs, aging infrastructure. Their solution? A $1 billion investment in Quebec's Bécancour smelter, securing 2,100 megawatts of hydroelectric power through 2040. U.S. smelters in Kentucky and Texas went silent. By early 2025, U.S. aluminum shipments dropped 22%, while Canadian exports jumped 28%. The skeletons of America's aluminum towns are the price of cheaper metal built under Canadian skies. Number 2, Campbell's Soup. Campbell's, the red and white cannon, your pantry since 1869, took a $90 million tariff hit on steel and aluminum. Their fix: shift canning operations quietly to Ontario. Jobs popped up in Toronto and London, Ontario. Meanwhile, plants in Camden, New Jersey slowed down. Ohio, printing companies lost 35% of orders. Michigan carrot farmers lost entire harvests. Trucking companies in Pennsylvania had routes erased. The can may look the same, but it now speaks fluent Canadian. Number 1. Coca Cola in January 2025. A 50% aluminum tariff added 7 cents to every can Coca Cola produced in the U.S. Their solution: shift 20% of North American can production to a renovated plant in London, Ontario. The fallout: 1,200 jobs lost in Georgia and Texas, 30%. Drop in orders for U.S. aluminum suppliers, empty soda fridges in small-town stores. Bottled in Canada, quietly stamped on your next can. Headlines. No press release. Just a stealthy shift to protect profits and abandon communities, built on bottling lines. So there you have it. 6 industrial titans: Tesla, Ford, GM, Alcoa, Campbell's, and Coca Cola, now rewriting what Made in USA means. Tax breaks, cheap power, and speedier permits are pulling them north, one assembly line at a time. But what happens to the millions of American workers, the small-town suppliers, the diner waitresses, and the generations of families who built their lives around these industries? If this surprised you, don't scroll away. Hit like. Drop a comment with which company shocked you most. Subscribe for more eye-opening deep dives on. Share this with someone who still believes Made in USA means what it used to, because your next car, soup, or soda might taste familiar. But it's quietly stamped Made in Canada.